Tiana's hand trembled as she held the platinum wedding band between her fingers. The weight of it felt like holding a grenade with the pin pulled behind her. Matteo D'Amato's voice cut through the marble hallway of his penthouse like a blade through silk. What did you just say? She turned slowly, the ring catching the chandelier light above. His steel gray eyes were locked on the jewelry in her palm, then traveled up to meet hers. For the first time since she'd started working in his Chicago mansion 3 months ago, she saw something flicker across the face of the most feared mafia boss in Illinois. Recognition. Terror flooded her veins. He couldn't know. He couldn't possibly remember that night 5 years ago. The night she'd served champagne at his engagement party. The night his fiancée had humiliated her in front of everyone. The night he defended a nobody-made maid and slipped his own ring onto her finger as an apology before his bride-to-be dragged him away. The same ring she was holding right now. "Sir," she whispered again, her voice barely audible. "You forgot your ring," his jaw tightened. One word escaped his lips, heavy with disbelief and something darker. "You." If you want to discover how Tiana and Matteo's story began and what happens after this moment of recognition, subscribe to the channel and leave a comment telling us where you're watching from. Every view helps bring more stories like this one to life. 3 months earlier, Tiana had stood outside the D'Amato's estate with her heart hammering against her ribs and a forged reference letter clutched in her sweating palm. She needed this job desperately. Her daughter Maya's medical bills were drowning her. The eviction notice was already taped to her apartment door, and the staffing agency had made it clear. This was her last chance. "Next," barked the head housekeeper, a severe woman named Mrs. Young, who looked like she'd never smiled in her 60-some years of life. Tiana smoothed down her thrift store blazer and stepped forward. The interview took place in a service entrance, not even inside the actual mansion. Through the doorway, she caught glimpses of marble floors, crystal chandeliers, and artwork that probably cost more than she'd earn in 10 lifetimes. Experience. Mrs. Young didn't look up from her clipboard. 5 years at the Waldorf, 2 years private residences. The lie tasted like ash. In reality, she'd cleaned office buildings at night and served tables during the day, but the agency had helped her craft a believable story. You understand this is a live-in position. 6 days a week, 12-hour shifts. Mr. D'Amato requires absolute discretion, impeccable service, and complete loyalty. I understand the pay is $2,500 weekly, plus room and board. Tiana's breath caught. That was more than she made in a month at her 3 jobs combined. It was enough to catch up on Maya's treatment, to keep their apartment, to finally stop drowning. That had been 12 weeks ago. Tiana had learned quickly that Matteo D'Amato wasn't just wealthy. He was dangerous. The kind of man whose name made hardened criminals look over their shoulders. The kind of man who conducted business meetings in Italian that ended with people leaving in body bags. The kind of man who wore $15,000 suits and had eyes that could freeze hell itself. She'd also learned to be invisible, to clean his study while he worked, to serve his morning espresso without being asked, to disappear into the woodwork whenever his associates visited. The other staff had warned her. Never speak unless spoken to, never make eye contact, never ask questions about the blood she might find on his shirt cuffs. But Tiana had one advantage none of them knew about. She'd met Matteo D'Amato before, and if he ever remembered that night, everything she'd built would come crashing down. It was a Tuesday morning when her carefully constructed world started to fracture. She was polishing the marble floors of the East Wing when raised voices echoed from Matteo's office. "You're making a mistake, boss." The voice belonged to Dante, Matteo's second in command. "We respond with strategy." Matteo's voice was ice. "Force without intelligence is just violence." The door opened abruptly. Tiana's head snapped down, her hand moving rhythmically across the marble, as if she'd heard nothing. She could feel Dante's gaze on her as he passed. Then silence. She risked a glance toward the office. Matteo stood in the doorway watching her. He'd removed his suit jacket, his white shirt rolled to the elbows, revealing forearms marked with scars and one distinctive tattoo, a Roman numeral domed theme on his left wrist. "How long have you been working here?" His question caught her off guard. 3 months, sir. She kept her eyes on the floor. Look at me when I'm speaking to you. Her heart stuttered. Slowly, she raised her eyes. His face was all sharp angles and controlled power, handsome in a way that felt almost dangerous. At 42, he had the presence of someone who'd built an empire on blood and strategy. What's your name? Tiana, sir. He studied her for a long moment. You're different from the others. You don't gossip. You don't ask for favors. You do your work and disappear.
Why?
Because I'm hiding from you, she thought. Because 5 years ago, your fiancé threw champagne in my face and called me trash, and you stopped her. Because you gave me your ring as an apology, and I've kept it hidden ever since. A secret I can never tell. I just need the job, sir, she said instead. Something flickered in his eyes. Curiosity, perhaps. Before he could respond, his phone rang. He answered it in rapid Italian, his expression darkening with each word. When he hung up, the momentary softness was gone. I'm hosting a dinner party Friday night. 12 guests. Tell Mrs. Young to prepare the formal dining room. You'll be serving. Her stomach dropped. Sir, I'm not trained for you. Start learning tonight. Don't disappoint me. Friday arrived too quickly. The mansion transformed into something from a movie. Flowers imported from Italy. A string quartet setting up in the corner. Crystal and silver polished to blinding perfection. Tiana wore the formal server uniform, black dress, white apron, her hair pulled back into a severe bun. The evening progressed in a blur of pouring wine, clearing plates, and staying invisible. Tiana was good at invisible until the moment everything changed. She was refilling a guest's wine glass when she heard it, Italian flowing from the other end of the table. One of the men, a silver-haired associate named Gianfabio, Fabio, was telling a story about Sicily. Tiana's hand froze. She understood every word. Her mother had been Italian, had taught her the language before cancer took her when Tiana was 16. Impossible, Gianfabio laughed. The old man actually thought he could negotiate with the Corleo family. Stupido, Tiana murmured under her breath. The words slipped out before she could stop it. The table went silent. Every eye turned to her. Matteo's gaze was sharp as broken glass. What did you say? His voice was dangerously quiet. Tiana's throat closed. Nothing, sir. My apologies. You understood him. It wasn't a question. My mother was Italian, sir. Matteo leaned back in his chair, his expression unreadable. Say something in Italian. Her mind went blank. Then, from somewhere deep in memory, words surfaced. I am deeply sorry if I have caused any disturbance. The silence stretched. Then Gianfabio laughed, a booming sound that broke the tension. Matteo, where did you find this one? She speaks better Italian than my own daughter. But Matteo wasn't laughing. He was staring at Tiana with an intensity that made her skin prickle as if he was seeing her, really seeing her for the first time. Leave us, he said quietly to the other staff. Tiana stays. When the guests finally left near midnight, she began clearing the table with trembling hands. Stop. She froze, a stack of plates in her hands. Matteo approached slowly. He stood close enough that she could smell his cologne, something expensive and dark, cedar and bergamot. Close enough that she had to tilt her head back to meet his eyes. Why didn't you tell me you spoke Italian? It wasn't relevant, sir. Everything is relevant. His eyes searched her face. You're full of surprises, Tiana. He reached out, and for one heart-stopping moment, she thought he might touch her. Instead, he picked up an empty wine glass from the tray she held. My mother taught me Italian, she found herself saying before she died. And your father? Never knew him. Something shifted in his expression, understanding perhaps. I lost my mother, young to cancer. Mine as well. The moment stretched between them, fragile and unexpected. Two people from impossibly different worlds, connected by the thinnest thread of shared loss. Then his phone rang, shattering the intimacy. When he hung up, the walls were back up.
Get some rest.
Good work tonight. He walked away, leaving Tiana standing alone in the dining room with her heart pounding and her carefully maintained distance crumbling around her. She didn't know it yet, but Matteo D'Amato had just started to remember where he'd seen her before. If you're enjoying this story and want to see what happens next, please subscribe to our channel and let us know in the comments where you're watching from. Your support means everything to us as we continue bringing these stories to life. And when he finally did, everything would change. The recognition came 3 days later in the worst possible way. Tiana was in Matteo's private study, dusting the bookshelves while he worked at his massive mahogany desk. It was early morning, barely 6 a.m. She was reaching for a leather-bound book when something fell from between its pages. A photograph yellowed with age. The photo showed a younger Matteo, maybe 37, standing beside a stunning blonde woman in a designer gown, his engagement party. And there, barely visible in the background, was a young black woman in a server's uniform. "Where did you find that?" His voice made her jump. The photograph slipped from her fingers, floating to the floor between them. Matteo stood from his desk, his eyes locked on the image. He picked it up slowly, studying it. Then his gaze lifted to her face, and she watched the pieces click into place behind his eyes. "The engagement party," he said softly. "5 years ago, the Four Seasons. My fiancé threw a glass of champagne at a server, called her unspeakable things. I stopped the party, defended the girl." His eyes narrowed, "Gave her my ring as an apology because I had nothing else to offer in that moment." Tiana couldn't breathe, couldn't move. "It was you, not a question. A revelation. You kept it. The ring?"
Yes.
The whisper barely escaped her throat.
Why?
"Because it was the first time anyone had ever defended me," she thought. "Because it was valuable," she lied. "I was going to sell it. But I never don't." His voice cut like steel. "Don't lie to me, Tiana. Everyone lies to me. Don't be everyone." The vulnerability in those words shocked her. She met his gaze fully. "It was the first time in my life someone stood up for me.
You didn't know me.
You owed me nothing, but you stopped everything to defend a nobody Maid. I kept the ring because I wanted to remember that moment that someone cared, even if just for a second." Silence fell between them, heavy with truth. "What happened to the fiancé?" she asked. "I called off the engagement the next day." His expression darkened. "Anyone who could treat another human being that way wasn't someone I could trust with my name or my future." Tiana's eyes widened. "You ended your engagement because of what she did to me. I ended it because she showed me who she truly was." He took a step closer. "I've thought about that night many times over the years. Wondered what happened to the girl with kind eyes who didn't deserve any of what was done to her. I'm still just a maid, Mr. D'Amato." Matteo, his correction was firm. "And you're not just anything, Tiana." Before she could respond, the study door burst open. Dante stood in the doorway, his expression urgent. "Boss, we have a problem. The Petra family just hit one of our shipments. 3 men dead." The warmth in Matteo's eyes evaporated instantly. "Where?" "Southside warehouse. They left a message. It's personal." Matteo's jaw tightened. "Give me 5 minutes." When Dante left, Matteo turned back to Tiana. The contrast between the man who'd just been speaking to her and the dangerous Mafia boss now standing before her was jarring. "Go to your room. Lock the door. Don't leave until I tell you it's safe." "What's happening?"
War.
He moved to his desk, pulling a gun from the drawer. "The Petrov family has been pushing into my territory for months. This is their declaration that negotiation is over. Are you in danger?" He looked at her surprised. "Why do you care?" "Because she stopped uncertain. Stay safe, Tiana."
His voice softened. "Please."
Then he was gone. Hours passed. She tried to work, but concentration was impossible. It was near sunset when she found herself in the West Wing checking windows. She was testing a latch when she saw them. 3 men approaching through the garden, moving with predatory stealth. Folk family. They'd come to the mansion itself. Panic seized her. The hallways were empty. The staff must have been sent home. She was alone. The sound of breaking glass echoed from below. They were inside. Tiana ducked into the nearest room. Matteo's private bedroom. Her hands shook as she locked the door, then slipped into the walk-in closet, pressing herself against the back wall between expensive suits. Through the crack in the door, she could see shadows moving. Check everywhere. The boss wants anything that can hurt D'Amato. Check the closet. Her heart stopped. The closet door started to open. A gunshot exploded through the mansion. Shouts, running footsteps. The men cursed and ran toward the noise. More gunshots.
Closer now.
Then silence.
Tiana.
Mateo's voice roared with urgency.
Tiana.
She stumbled out, unlocked the bedroom door. He was in the hallway, gun still in hand, his white shirt splattered with blood. The moment he saw her, something cracked in his controlled expression. He closed the distance in 3 strides and pulled her against his chest, one arm wrapping around her while the other still held the gun. Are you hurt? His voice was rough against her hair. No, I'm okay. When Dante told me they'd gone to the mansion, that you were here alone, his voice broke slightly. I've never driven so fast in my life. You came back for me.
Of course I came back for you.
His intensity pinned her in place. Do you understand, Tiana? You could have died tonight because of me. But I didn't. You saved me this time. But there will be other times, other threats. This is my life. Anyone close to me becomes a target. She saw what he was doing, pushing her away to protect her. What if I don't want to be protected from you? The words escaped before she could stop them. His eyes darkened. You don't know what you're saying. I know exactly what I'm saying. She placed her hand over his heart. I know you're dangerous, but I also know that you're the only person who's ever made me feel like I matter. Tiana, when your fiancé called me trash, I believed her. I believed it my whole life. Her voice shook. Then you stepped in.
You defended me.
You gave me something precious just to show me I had value. Do you have any idea what that meant? His thumb traced her cheekbone. You've always had value. The world just made you forget. Then don't make me forget again. Don't push me away, because you're scared. I'm not scared of anything. But his voice lacked conviction. You're terrified, she whispered. Not of them. Of this. Of feeling something for someone who doesn't fit in your world. If I let myself care about you, he said roughly, I'll never be able to let you go. I'm not a man who shares. I'm not a man who does anything halfway. Then don't. She rose on her toes. If you become mine, I become yours. His control shattered. He kissed her like a man drowning and she was air, his mouth claiming hers with desperate hunger. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Mateo rested his forehead against hers. You're going to destroy me, he murmured. Good, she breathed back. Because you've already destroyed me. A sound from downstairs forced them apart. Reality crashed back. I need to handle this, Mateo said reluctantly. But after we talked, really talk. He started to walk away, then turned back. Tiana, that ring, do you still have it? Hidden in my room. Something fierce crossed his face. Good. Keep it hidden. Keep it safe because when this is over, when the Petrov family is dealt with, I'm going to put it back on your finger properly. And this time, you'll never take it off. He left her standing in the hallway, her heart racing, and her world completely transformed with no idea that hidden in his study was a photograph that would reveal a secret capable of destroying everything they'd just found. The photograph fell into Tiana's hands by accident. 2 weeks after Mateo's promise, she'd been cleaning his study when a drawer left open caught her attention. A photograph lay inside. Mateo at a charity gala 6 years ago. And beside him in the photo, holding a newborn baby, was her sister Natasha. The study spun. She gripped the desk as the truth crashed through her. The baby was Maya, her daughter. The pregnancy she'd hidden. The baby she'd given birth to while working 3 jobs. The daughter she'd left with Natasha until somehow the lie had become truth, and everyone believed Maya was her niece, not her daughter. But why was Natasha in a photograph with Matteo D'Amato? That was taken at a charity gala. Matteo's voice from the doorway made her spin around. Your sister was there as someone's date. We spoke briefly. Nothing memorable. His gaze lifted to her face. Why do you look like you've seen a ghost? That's my sister. The words barely escaped. I gathered. He took the photo. And the baby. This was the moment. Truth or lies? Maya? She whispered. My daughter. Silence filled the study like poison. Mateo's entire body went rigid. Your daughter. His voice was dangerously soft. Not your niece, your daughter. I had her when I was 22. I was alone, broke, terrified. Tears streamed down her face. Natasha helped me. Eventually, it became easier to tell people Maya was hers. I see her every Sunday. She knows I'm her mother. But publicly, you lied. He set the photograph down with deliberate care. For 3 months, you've worked in my home. You've kissed me. You've let me make promises. And you never mentioned you have a daughter. I was afraid. I needed this job. I needed the money for her medical treatment.
She has a heart condition.
Her voice broke. Mateo turned away, hands braced on the desk. What else haven't you told me? Nothing. I swear. Just your daughter. He laughed bitterly. Do you understand what you've done? In my world, secrets are weapons. Enemies could use her against you, against me. From you? The question escaped before she could stop it. He spun around, eyes blazing. From everyone by keeping her secret. You've made it impossible for me to protect her. If the Petrovs find out about Maya, if they discover she's your daughter, the sound of screeching tires outside cut him off. Mateo moved fast, pulling his gun and positioning himself between Tiana and the door.
Get down.
Glass exploded inward. Gunfire erupted. Mateo returned fire with cold precision. Basement now. He grabbed her arm, pulling her toward a hidden door. There's a panic room. Code is 0317. What about you? I'll handle this.
Go.
More gunfire. Before she could move, his phone rang. He answered while providing covering fire.
What?
His face went deathly pale. Say that again. He looked at Tiana with absolute horror. They have a 6-year-old girl. Black curly hair, heart-shaped birthmark on her left shoulder. His voice was hollow. They're asking for you, Tiana.
They want you in exchange for the child.
The birthmark? Maya had that exact birthmark. No, Tiana whispered. The Petrov family had her daughter. Mateo lowered the phone, his expression transforming into cold rage. When he spoke, his voice was deadly calm. How did they get her? Sunday afternoon. I visit Natasha's apartment every Sunday. If they followed me, she'd led them right to Maya. Mateo was already barking orders into his phone in rapid Italian. Within seconds, the gunfire stopped. He turned to Tiana. Where do they have her? I don't know. His phone buzzed. A text with an address. An abandoned warehouse on the south side. 1 hour. Come alone or the girl dies. They want me to trade myself. Tiana said steadily. I'll do it. Absolutely not. She's my daughter, Mateo, and I don't care what they want. He gripped her shoulders. I'm going to get Maya back. Alive, unharmed, and you're staying here where you're safe. You can't save her alone. Then they'll kill me. He said it with finality. But I'm not letting them have you, and I'm not letting them keep her.
Why?
The question broke from her. Why would you risk everything for a child you don't even know? His hands cupped her face. Because she's yours. Because in 3 months, you've become important to me in ways I didn't think were possible. Because when I thought about my future, I started seeing you in it. And if Maya is part of you, his voice roughened, then she's already part of me. 2. Mateo, I need to know. Is there a father? Someone I need to account for?
No.
One night. A mistake. He doesn't know about her, and never will. Relief flickered across his face. Then it's just the two of you. It's always been just the two of us. Not anymore. He kissed her forehead. I'm going to bring her home to sorrow. Trust me.
Dante appeared.
Boss, we're ready. 20 men, full tactical gear. Mateo gave Tiana final instructions. Where to hide, who to trust if something went wrong. At the door, he turned back. When I bring Maya home, we're done with secrets. All of them. Understood. Understood. And Tiana, after this is over, we're having a serious conversation about the future, about what it means for you to be mine and for me to be yours, about how we protect what's ours together. Together, she echoed. Then he was gone. Tiana made it to the panic room and did the hardest thing she'd ever done. She waited. After 3 hours that felt like 3 lifetimes, her phone rang. Mateo's number.
Hello, Mommy.
A small voice, frightened but alive. Mommy. There was a scary man. But then Mr. Mateo came, and he was really brave. Maya. Tiana collapsed against the wall, sobs tearing from her throat. Baby, are you okay? I'm okay. Just scared. But Mr. Mateo said, You sent him. Mommy, is he a superhero? Through her tears, Tiana laughed. Yes, baby. He's a superhero. I want to thank him. Rustling. Then Mateo's voice, rough with exhaustion. Tiana, is she really okay? Completely unharmed. They were smart enough to know that hurting her would guarantee their deaths. His voice darkened. They were right. And the Petrov dealt with permanently. It's over. Are you hurt? Minor gunshot wound to the shoulder. Nothing serious. Mateo, I'm bringing Maya to the mansion.
She's asking about you.
I told her we're going somewhere safe.
His voice softened.
She's beautiful, Tiana. She has your eyes. Thank you. Thank you for saving her. You can thank me when we get there. We'll be home soon. Home. He'd called it home. When the panic room door finally opened 40 minutes later, Tiana burst through. Mateo stood there, suit jacket gone, white shirt, blood-stained, bandage on his shoulder. But he was alive. And holding his hand was a little girl with dark curly hair and wide brown eyes. Mommy. Maya ran to her, and Tiana caught her daughter. Holding her so tightly, Maya squeaked in protest. When she looked up, Morella was watching them with an expression of tenderness and wonder. Maya pulled back, turning to Mateo with serious 6-year-old symmetry. Thank you for saving me, Mr. Mateo. You're very brave. He crouched to her level. You're very brave, too, Maya. You didn't cry even when you were scared. That takes real courage. Mommy says courage means being scared, but doing the right thing anyway. Your mommy is very wise. His eyes flicked to Tiana. And very special. Maya studied him. Are you and mommy friends? I hope so, he said carefully. Is that okay with you? Can you teach me Italian? Mommy speaks it sometimes. Mateo's smile transformed his face. I would be honored. Okay, then we can be friends. Maya yawned. Mommy, I'm tired. Tiana met Mateo's eyes over her daughter's head, seeing the question there, the possibility, the dangerous hope. Neither dared voice. But as Maya's hand slipped trustingly into Mateo's, Tiana realized something that terrified and thrilled her. Her daughter had just accepted a Mafia boss into their lives, and she was about to do the same. 3 days after Maya's rescue, Tiana woke to find her daughter's bed empty. Panic seized her until she heard voices, one high and musical, one deep and patient. In the conservatory, Mateo sat at the grand piano. Maya perched beside him. He'd abandoned his suits for dark jeans and a black Henley, looking more relaxed than she'd ever seen him. No, Piccola, this finger here. He adjusted Maya's hand gently.
See?
Now try again. They hadn't noticed her yet. She watched as Mateo showed Maya another sequence, his patience infinite. Mr. Marino, Maya asked seriously, why do you have so many guards? Mateo handled it with honesty. Because I have a dangerous job. Sometimes people get angry at me, and the guards help keep me safe. Like superheroes have sidekicks. Exactly like that.
Are you a superhero or a bad guy?
Mateo was quiet for a moment. I think I'm somewhere in between, Maya. I've done things I'm not proud of, but I'm trying to be better for your mother.
For you.
Mommy says everyone makes mistakes. The important thing is trying to be better. Your mother is very wise. She says that's you, too. Maya tilted her head. Are you going to marry my mommy? Tiana nearly choked. Mateo glanced toward the doorway, catching her there. His eyes held hers as he answered. Would that be okay with you? Only if you promise to keep teaching me piano and promise to keep mommy safe. She works really hard, and sometimes she cries when she thinks I'm sleeping. I promise. His voice was rough. Both of those things.
Okay then.
Maya hopped off the bench. I'm hungry. Can we have pancakes? She bounded past Tiana, leaving the adults alone. Mateo moved toward Tiana with predatory grace. How much did you hear? He asked. Enough. She entered the conservatory. You're good with her. She's an easy child to be good with. He touched her face. Tiana, I've already told Mrs. Yang you're no longer staff. You're something else entirely. And what is that? I don't have a word for it yet, but I know I want you in my life properly. You and Maya.
She has a heart condition.
Surgery scheduled in 6 weeks. Already taken care of. He said it like it was nothing. I've arranged for the best pediatric cardiac surgeon in the country, Dr. Helena Novak from Johns Hopkins. She'll perform the surgery here in Chicago, and Maya will have a private suite during recovery. Tiana's eyes filled with tears. I can't accept that. It's not nearly enough. His hands framed her face. Do you understand what you've given me? In 3 months, you've reminded me what it feels like to want something beyond power. You've made me think about futures that don't end in blood. And Maya, his voice caught. She looks at me like I'm human. Not a monster, just a man. No one's looked at me like that in years. You are human. Flawed and dangerous, but human. I don't deserve you, either of you. That's not your choice to make. She pulled back to meet his eyes. Mateo, if we do this, if we really try, it can't be like your world. You can't control me. I need to be an equal partner, not a possession. I know I'm not good at equal. I'm good at commanding, controlling, but for you, I'll learn. He took a shaky breath. For both of you, I'll try to be better. I don't need you to be perfect. I need you to be honest. And I need to know that if this becomes too dangerous, if your world threatens Maya, you'll let us go. Pain flashed across his face. You're asking me to choose. I'm asking you to put my daughter first, the way I always will. He was silent for a long time. Finally, he nodded. If it ever comes to a choice between my life and hers, I choose hers every time and mine. I'd burn the world down before I let anyone touch you. But I'd also walk away if it was the only way to keep you safe. His voice dropped, even though it would destroy me. She kissed him then, pouring all her fear and hope into it. He responded with controlled hunger. When they broke apart, he rested his forehead against hers. There's something else we need to discuss. The ring. I told you I'd put it back on your finger properly. I meant it. Her breath caught. Mateo, I know it's fast. I know we have complications, but I also know that in 3 months, you've become essential to me. I don't want some casual relationship. I want to marry you. I want to adopt Maya legally. I want to build a life where you're both protected, cherished, safe. That's not a proposal. That's a plan because I'm not proposing yet. His smile was slight. When I propose, it will be perfect. This is just me telling you what I want, what I'm working toward, and if I'm not ready, then I wait. He kissed her forehead. I'm patient when it matters. The door burst open. Mrs. Yang stood there looking pale. Mr. D'Amato, there's a woman at the gate. She says she's Tiana's sister, and she's demanding to see her daughter, Natasha. Of course. 20 minutes later, Tiana faced her sister across a coffee table while Mateo stood by the fireplace and Maya played with blocks in the corner. Natasha looked exhausted, eyes red-rimmed. 3 days, Tiana. 3 days I've been losing my mind. The police said she was kidnapped, that you were involved somehow. Then suddenly the case is closed and I get a call saying she's here.
I'm sorry.
I wanted to call, but things were complicated. Complicated? Natasha's eyes landed on Mateo. Who the hell is he? Mateo D'Amato, he answered. Tiana works for me. When I discovered Maya had been taken by people trying to hurt me, I mobilized my resources to get her back. What kind of work do you do that involves kidnapping? The kind that's dangerous. The kind that means anyone connected to me becomes a potential target. Natasha turned to Tiana. You're working for a criminal. I'm working for a man who saved my daughter's life when no one else could. Tiana stood her ground. Yes, he's dangerous, but he's also the reason Maya is alive. Safe? Natasha laughed bitterly. She was kidnapped because of him and rescued because of him. Tiana moved to Maya. Natasha, I know you're scared, but Mateo has promised to protect us. He's arranging the best cardiac surgeon.
No.
Natasha shook her head. I'm taking Maya home right now. Maya is my daughter. Tiana said quietly. Not yours. I'm grateful for everything, but I make the decisions about her care. Then make the right decision.
Come home.
Get away from this man before he destroys you. Mateo spoke then, calm but final. I understand your concern. As Maya's legal guardian on paper, you have rights, but those rights can be challenged in court, and I have the best lawyers in the country. I'd prefer not to go that route. I'd prefer we work together for Maya's benefit. Are you threatening me? I'm stating facts. Tiana is Maya's biological mother. She has resources now to care for her daughter. Fighting this will only traumatize the child. Or you can accept that circumstances have changed. Maintain your relationship with Maya as her aunt and trust that I will protect both of them with my life. Natasha looked between them, seeing something that made her deflate. You're in love with him. Tiana hadn't said it out loud, but hearing her sister say it, she couldn't deny it. Yes, God help you. Because loving a man like that, it's going to break your heart. Maybe, Tiana agreed. But it's my heart to break. Eventually, Natasha left with a promise to visit on weekends. Her acceptance reluctant, but real. When she was gone, Tiana collapsed on the sofa. Mateo sat beside her, pulling her against his chest. That was hard, he murmured. It was necessary. She breathed him in. Mateo, she's right. This is going to be complicated, painful, maybe impossible. Nothing worth having is easy. His arms tightened. And you, Tiana Rodriguez, are worth every complication, every pain, every impossibility. She believed him. But as she sat in his arms watching Maya play in a mansion that had become their sanctuary, she couldn't shake the feeling that the hardest challenges were still ahead and that their love would be tested in ways neither could imagine. The day of Maya's surgery arrived with terrifying swiftness. Tiana sat in the pre-op waiting room of Northwestern Memorial Hospital, watching Maya laugh at something the nurse said. Her daughter was braver than she had any right to be. Mateo sat beside her, his hand engulfing hers. He'd barely left their side in the 6 weeks since Natasha's visit. He'd been there for every appointment, every consultation. He'd also been there for piano lessons, bedtime stories, and tea parties where a mafia boss wore a paper crown because a 6-year-old demanded it. Somewhere in those 6 weeks, the three of them had become a family. Mommy. Maya's voice pulled her from her thoughts. Can Mr. Mateo come with us? The nurse smiled. Hospital policy says only parents in pre-op, but she glanced at Mateo, clearly recognizing the name. I suppose we can make an exception. When they reached Maya's bed, the little girl looked up at him with sudden fear. What if I don't wake up? Tiana's heart cracked, but Mateo knelt beside the bed, taking Maya's small hand. Do you trust me, Piccola?
Yes.
Then believe me when I tell you that you will wake up. And when you do, your mother and I will be right there. I promise. What if you're wrong? I'm never wrong. He said it with such conviction that Maya giggled through her tears. You're bossy.
I know.
It's my best quality. He kissed her forehead. Be brave, little one. Show them what Rodriguez women are made of. The anesthesiologist arrived. Suddenly it was time. Tiana kissed her daughter's face a dozen times, whispering, I love you, until her voice broke. Then they were wheeling Maya away. The moment Maya disappeared through the doors, Tiana's knees buckled. Mateo caught her, holding her as sobs tore from her throat. He guided her to a private waiting room and held her while she fell apart. She's going to be fine, he murmured. Dr. Novak is the best. Maya is strong. She's going to be fine. You don't know that. Yes, I do. He pulled back to look at her. Because I won't accept any other outcome. Your daughter is going to be fine. His absolute certainty steadied her. How can you be so sure? Because she has you as a mother. That makes her stronger than any army I command. The surgery took 4 hours. 4 hours of Tiana pacing, praying, bargaining with God. Mateo made phone calls in Italian, managing his empire, but his eyes never left her for long. When Dr. Novak finally emerged, still in scrubs, Tiana couldn't breathe. The surgery was a complete success, the doctor said, and Tiana's knees gave out. Mateo held her up. We repaired the defect, and her heart is already showing improved function. She should make a full recovery. Tiana was crying too hard to speak. They found Maya in the ICU looking tiny, surrounded by monitors and 4 lines, but her eyes were open. And when she saw them, she smiled. "I woke up," she whispered. "Just like you promised." Mateo moved to one side of her bed, Tiana to the other. They each took one of her hands. "You are so brave," Tiana told her through tears. "My chest hurts." "I know, baby, but it's going to get better now." Maya looked at Mateo. "Can we still do piano lessons?" His smile transformed his face. "Every single day." "Good." Her eyes were already drifting closed. "Love you both." Tiana looked at Mateo over their daughter's bed because somewhere in the past 6 weeks, Maya had become his daughter, too, and saw her own emotions reflected in his eyes. "I love you," she said. Not a confession, a statement of fact. "I love you, and I'm terrified, and I don't know how we're going to make this work, but I love you. I love you, too." He said it like a vow. "Both of you. More than I thought I was capable of loving anything." 2 weeks later, Maya was home at the mansion recovering well. Tiana was watching her daughter play in the garden from Mateo's study window when he came up behind her, wrapping his arms around her waist. "I have something for you," he murmured. She turned, eyebrows raised. "Another gift I can't possibly accept." "Better." He pulled a small box from his pocket, and her heart stopped. But when he opened it, it wasn't a diamond ring. It was the platinum band from 5 years ago, the one he'd given her at his engagement party. "I had it resized," he said softly, "and I had an inscription added." He showed her the inside elegant script. "You were always mine. I was always yours, Mateo." He took her left hand, holding the ring at the tip of her fourth finger, but not sliding it on.
Not yet.
"I'm not proposing. Not officially. Not when you're still recovering from Maya's surgery. Not when we're still figuring out our lives. But I want you to have this to know that I'm committed to you, to Maya, to the family we're building." And when you do propose officially, his smile was devastating. "I'll replace this with something worthy of your beauty. But this ring represents something money can't buy. A moment 5 years ago when I defended you, when our story started, even though neither of us knew it yet." Tears streamed down her face. "You're making it very hard not to propose to you instead." "Then don't wait." His eyes gleamed. "Ask me right now." She laughed through her tears. "Is that how this works? The woman proposes. In my world, I take what I want. But with you, I want you to choose me actively. I want you to ask because you want this." Tiana took a shaky breath. "Mateo D'Amato, you're dangerous and possessive, and you've done terrible things, but you're also brave and protective, and you've shown my daughter more kindness than most people have shown me in my entire life. You saved her when no one else could. You saved me before I even knew I needed saving." She took the ring from his hand.
So, yes.
"Yes, I want to marry you. Yes, I want to build a life with you. Yes, I choose you. Flaws, danger, complications, and all." She slid the ring onto her own finger. It fit perfectly. Mateo kissed her then, deep and claiming. When they broke apart, he rested his forehead against hers. "We're going to do this right," he murmured. "Traditional engagement, big wedding, everything proper." "And that you're mine," she counted. "Always yours," he pulled back. "There's one more thing. Maya's legal name. I've had my lawyers draw up adoption papers. With Natasha's consent, which I've already secured, I can legally adopt Maya. She'd be Maya D'Amato, my daughter, legally and officially. You want to adopt her? I want to be her father in every way." His voice was rough. "I want to protect her, guide her, love her the way a father should, if you'll let me." "She already thinks of you as her father," Tiana whispered. "Then yes. Yes. Absolutely yes." A small voice from the doorway made them turn. Maya stood there in her princess pajamas. "Are you guys kissing again?" She wrinkled her nose. "Grown-ups are weird." Mateo crouched to her level. "Maya, how would you feel about me becoming your real dad? Legally adopting you, so we're a real family." Maya's eyes went wide. "Really? Really? Really?" She launched herself at him, and he caught her carefully. Does that mean I can call you daddy?
His voice was thick.
I would love that, Piccolola. And can I still have piano lessons every single day? And will you still read me bedtime stories for as long as you want? She studied his face.
Seriously. Okay, then.
You can be my daddy, but you have to promise to always protect mommy and never make her cry. I promise. He said it like an oath. On my life. Good.
She yawned.
Can we have ice cream now? Tiana laughed through her tears. You just had surgery. The surgeon says frozen treats are good for recovery. Mateo interrupted. I'll get the ice cream. He carried Maya toward the kitchen, the little girl chattering while the most dangerous man in Chicago listened with infinite patience. Tiana followed, her hand touching the ring on her finger, her heart so full it ached. This was everything she'd never dared to dream of. A man who loved her, a daughter who was thriving, a future that stretched ahead with possibility instead of just survival. The violence hadn't disappeared. Mateo's world was still dangerous, but he built a sanctuary in the middle of it, a home where a former maid and her daughter were treasured more than any empire. 2 years later, Tiana stood at the windows of the master bedroom, watching the Chicago skyline glitter. In the garden below, an 8-year-old Maya gave piano lessons to her baby brother, Marco, who at 18 months was more interested in banging the keys than playing them. Mateo had been right about one thing. When he proposed officially 6 months after the surgery, he'd replaced the simple platinum band with a ring that cost more than most people's houses. A flawless 5-carat diamond surrounded by sapphires, but she still wore the original band on her right hand, still treasured it more than any jewel. Lost in thought, Mateo's voice came from the doorway. She turned to find her husband watching her with familiar intensity. Marriage hadn't softened him. He was still dangerous, still commanded an empire with strategic brilliance. But with her and their children, he was gentle, patient, devoted. Just remembering, she said. 5 years ago, I found your ring after that terrible engagement party. I kept it as a reminder that I mattered to someone, even briefly. He crossed the room, pulling her against his chest. You matter to me every day, every moment. More than my empire, more than my power, more than my own life. I know. She kissed him. You show me every day.
Good.
His arms tightened. Because I intend to spend the rest of my life proving it. Below, Maya's laughter rang out as Marco banged enthusiastically on the piano. We built something good here, Tiana murmured. Against all odds, we built something perfect, Mateo corrected. A family, a home, a future. She thought about the scared girl she'd been, scrubbing floors and dreaming of just enough money to survive. She thought about the moment everything changed when she'd whispered, Sir, you forgot your ring, and watched recognition dawn in a dangerous man's eyes. That moment had led to this one, to a life beyond her wildest dreams, to love that had transformed them both. No regrets. Mateo asked softly. Tiana looked at their children, at the home they'd built, at the man who'd proven that even the most dangerous hearts could learn to love completely. Not a single one, she answered. Not ever. And as the sun set over Chicago, the D'Amato family gathered for dinner. A mafia boss, a former maid, and 2 children who represented the impossible made real. The ring that had started it all still sat in a place of honor in Mateo's study, in a glass case beside the photo from his engagement party. A reminder of how far they'd come. A symbol of the moment 2 souls found each other across an impossible divide. And a promise that some love stories against all odds really do get their happy ending. This story has reached its conclusion. Thank you all for following the story. If you enjoyed it, please write in the comments where you're watching from and share your thoughts about this story. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video as your support is important for me to continue creating content.
Until next time.